Boom, we're live. My name is Patrick P.D. Delgado, the creator of the SPEAR and the CMARSPP'S life principles. My co-host is my best friend, Kenny Candia, the ambassador of the SPEAR and the CMARSPP'S life principles.
SPEAR is spelled SPPRR, which is an abbreviation for the 5 components of your life and how to manage each one individually. The first letter is S, and that's for spiritual. Next is P, and that's for physical. The next P is for psychological. R is for relationships, and the last R is for resources.
The premise of the podcast is education and fulfillment in each of those 5 components. The problem is there's a lot of misinformation regarding long-term success in any of those given components of your life. Applying the principles of your life SPEAR is the antidote to not knowing where to find long-term fulfillment. Remember, success is dependent upon the application of the information.
And because the principles that are taught here are unique every single week, this can't be found or duplicated anywhere else. So make sure to follow the weekly podcast and leave us a review and give us a comment.
Today is December 16th, Saturday. Today we're on the last component of CMARSPP'S, which is shared. So shared that's one of my favorite because it's how we all connect. It's connection. It's how we relate with each other and understand each other. So the problem is that there's a big disconnection. When we disconnect with each other, number one, we don't learn, we're not progressing, and there's less understanding. So let's get right into shared. So Kenny, what's your experience in sharing? How have you grown from sharing your life experience and success in the components of your life?
Yeah, if you break down the components of SPEAR and each of those aspects and having shared tied to each one of those and actually thriving in each one of those aspects, sharing your experiences in spiritual or physical or whatever, it allows you to actually keep yourself more accountable. So for me, sharing my experiences, like right now, what we're doing right now is sharing. We're sharing our experiences. We're sharing what we know to be true. We're sharing principles that are true that help you get to the next step in life, get to the next level, be truly fulfilled, be happy, all that stuff. And by us sharing that, we're able to, I'd say, not convince ourselves, but we're able to grow a bigger conviction of what we're actually applying to our lives. So that's why, like, sharing your testimony on the spiritual side, or talking with your friends and sharing what you believe, or sharing what you know to make you happy, is something that helps you grow and helps you benefit from that.
Yeah. So like you said, this is our way of sharing with you, with the viewers, listeners, and with our experiences and the successes we've had in long-term success in any of those 5 components in your life SPEAR. And that's one of my favorite because I think it was the first time in my life that I recognized I was on my mission in sharing the spiritual aspect of my life, sharing that with other people. And that's where I recognized that what I had to say actually meant a lot to people. And so prior to that, unfortunately, so this is 19 years old. Prior to that, I didn't really feel that my word was that valuable. So I didn't really understand the power of the spoken word until I went on my mission. And that's where I recognized that people were giving me feedback and telling me that the things that I shared, my testimony and the spiritual component of my life, that it changed their lives. And through the process of that, it also changed my life. I'm sure you had similar experience on your mission.
Oh yeah, 100%. And there's not a quote, but there's like a saying that I like to refer back to, or an example. So if you had a piece of pie, right? Like it's like the best piece of pie you ever had in your entire life, ever. It made you cry. It was so good, super good piece of pie. Are you just going to keep that to yourself? You're not going to tell anybody about it. You're not going to tell your family about it. You're not going to tell your friends or loved ones about it. I'd be like, oh man, you got to go try this pie. It's so good. Most of the time, if you have a good experience somewhere, if you have a 5-star restaurant or a new restaurant that opens up, what's the first thing you do? You either post about it or you tell your friends or family or whatever. Same thing in these principles of SPEAR: spiritual, physical, psychological, relationships, and resources. Good experiences and experiences that you actually were able to muscle through, bounce back from, all that. Don't keep that to yourself. Go and share it with others so they can have different experiences and examples to look to. If there's something good in your life, don't keep it to yourself. Don't bury your talents. Go out and share it. Share it with others.
Yeah. And so people, you hear practice what you preach. It's not just practice what you preach, but preach what you practice. Once you're practicing it, what good is a gift from God if no one's receiving it? God's given you a gift, the ability to create something that will change the world for the better. Why aren't you sharing it? And so this is one of the questions I had in my life. And after so many people had come to me and thanked me for helping them in one of these components of their lives and their life sphere. And so I felt that it was more of a responsibility to share my experience and help lift up the hands of those that hang down. So it happened on my mission. It's happened after so many times. And I'm grateful I can share this experience with you, Kenny. There's a spiritual aspect of this. And that's something that I wanted to focus on today, that when we're sharing, and there's a scripture in Doctrine and Covenants 50:22. It says, wherefore he that preacheth, and he that receiveth understand one another, and both are edified and rejoice together. So in other words, anyone that receives the message that we're sharing, or if it's something that's helpful, you grow, we grow, and everyone else that listens to it and experiences it also grow. And that's the amazing thing about it's not only spiritual, but it's also encoded into our DNA. There's in anthropology, for example, when we share experiences thousands of years ago, and I guess we still do dance, but to tell a story, right? So, and also songs, poetry, and things like that tell a story, sharing an experience. And so it's encoded into our DNA because collectively we're better. So for example, if I want to go fish, I can bring back one couple fish. I don't know, depending on how good I am. I don't know how good. Are you good at fishing, Kenny?
Nah, dude, I never fit.
Okay. I heard if you can do real well if you use corn. I don't know. I think that's illegal or something. But anyways, if you're going to go fishing, I can go bring back a few fish. But if you and I get together and we combine with our neighbors and a few other people, we can bring back a whale. So that's the collective experience. And the closer we get to a collective experience, the better understanding that we have with others. And that's how we lift others. And in the process, we also grow ourselves.
And then sharing is actually a real big reason why social media is so huge, because that's all people are doing on there, literally sharing. That's it. They're literally sharing. And it's interesting because there's a lot of influencers and a lot of people on there that make money and stuff like that. They literally have a whole business model on sharing. That's it. All they're doing is sharing, and sharing equals influencing others equals to action, and have them do things, or not copy, but like in any kind of way, or just follow what you're doing. Coming from or stemming from sharing, there's a whole business model that comes from it, and you can actually make money sharing. So, and another thing, if you think about sharing, it's not just like sharing what you're doing, all that. With my daughter, she's 3, and we're trying to just make sure she still knows how to share her toys. It even comes down to the sharing in that sense. Don't be greedy. Share your experiences. Share your wealth with others. Don't be selfish. Make sure you share. It's the same principles that apply when we're toddlers. Share.
And when it comes to your experiences, if you think about this as the first time in human history that we've ever been able to communicate pure, unadulterated messages worldwide, and if there's a reason why you're not sharing it, I have to question you have to have a lot of fear sharing your experience. So once you get over that fear, you start to share your experience. That's where you can actually help people up that what I call a metaphorical dark mountain, this journey through life that we're all climbing. And some of us have had experience or success in one of the 5 components of your life sphere. And you have that, what I call that experience is light. And you have the ability to pass that back to someone that's climbing that same mountain. And if you've been able to help them, that's something that you can reach back and give back to them. But really it's their prerogative of whether they want to accept that gift from you or not. So consider this, that gift of giving it back. So you can accept it or not. The reality is I've helped a lot of people through my life in achieving goals for example, in the physical component of their life. And that brought me a lot of fulfillment. I know that fulfillment comes from sharing your experience, and it's directly related with sacrifice as well, because it is time. You have to put your time, effort, and your talents, blood, sweat, and tears into it.
Yeah. And to be totally honest, I'm not a huge social media person. To be honest, I don't really even like it because a lot of junk on there. People sharing a lot of junk. It can backfire. Just have the negative effect, the type of stuff you're sharing, negativity, sharing this, that. It goes against what we're actually talking to you guys about. It goes against fulfillment. So sharing can actually go against any of this stuff. If you do it in the wrong way, it'll go against the fulfillment and make you not happy, make you sad, make you judgmental, all these different things. But so sharing would be like, if I have my avenue of doing it now. I have multiple different avenues of sharing. I have a business. I have a lot of people like that listen to me, or I have the ear of a lot of different types of people that I work with. Right now, podcast, I'm sharing a lot of our experiences. This is totally out of my realm of doing things I'm comfortable with doing. I don't do this, and I don't do this. And obviously, this is a social media platform. I'm sharing it with a lot of people. It's not really in my nature to do, but I'm going down the right path. I'm sharing and being able to or have people duplicate what I'm talking about right now. And there's a bunch of different ways now from a few months ago that I'm sharing. I didn't used to share anything. I'd share at church. I'd share maybe with my close friends, my close circle of friends, and that's pretty much it. But now I'm able to have more fulfillment by sharing with more and more people.
Yeah. No, and what I like about that is as you're sharing what's happening in our minds is we're receiving oxytocin. And we were talking about how everyone grows when they hear of a story or they see someone do a good deed, helping someone out. Then they also receive oxytocin, not just the person that does sharing the experience, but also the person that receives the message and also the person observing those two people. So just hearing a story, an experience that's positive and uplifting, you receive oxytocin. So that's one of the happiness chemicals, that's hormones that are received or released in your brain. So as we do it, and that's why I say it's encoded into our DNA, we're supposed to be connected. Just like Christ said, when we're one, if you're not one, you're not mine. So be one. And to understand each other, you need to connect. And just like you said, Kenny, social media, it's like Transformers. There's others for good, others for evil, right?
Yeah.
There's some good stuff. There's some evil stuff out there. I think that about wraps up this component of sharing. So we want to encourage you to share your experience, share your life experience. If it's going to help someone, why not share it? Do we have anything else, Kenny?
Nope. Stay tuned to the next podcast. And boom, we're out.